one can expect no less from someone like Papamoshtarikazu. This is what LEADx is all about. LEADx cares about what goes on in the world, starting in Georgia. Functional, meaningful public squares are missing. So if LEADx can accomplish one thing among others in bringing different minds, different institutions, from Washington, D.C., Brussels, Chisinau, Tbilisi.
LEADx is a platform to bring together diverse leading personalities in various professional fields to help build resilience, to share ideas, to build networks for creating positive societies in the future.
And ideally, Microsoft, Red Hat.
It's really exciting to see the energy and the positive commitment to the different aspects of digital diplomacy and information integrity, and kind of thinking about practical takeaways, as well as finding a community of similarly minded people and future leaders. On the one hand, especially the leadership development perspective, it's really important to train the next generation of leaders, people who are really considered and caring and want to show their caring through a variety of different industry roles, whether that's through politics or media or technology. I think they're all really important, and that's one of the things that I think is really valuable about this environment. And then the chance to engage together in a range of discussions on different topics today, and inviting the public forum in, I think it's exactly representative of the goal here of really involving everyone in the solutions we need to find.
And we blasted that out to as many people as we could. And it perhaps was a tiny piece of a gigantic effort that the entire Ukrainian community and their friends did.
Together with technology, we also need real human beings. People need to associate missions with individuals. So one of my hopes is that in gatherings like this, there are some natural leaders that emerge who then become the face of, initiatives and movements and programs. So I think it's really important for people to know that there are gatherings like this that are being organized, and you don't have to go to Davos, for this. I mean, this is literally a grassroots setup, not a mountaintop setup like Davos.
Based in the US, I think sometimes it's very difficult to recognize the realities that other regions live with, which obviously for this region, Russia is very much present in every conversation we have. So I think it's been really interesting to learn the perspectives and the dynamism within the region of young leaders who are dealing with these very real problems that in the West, people just talk about very abstractly, whereas here they're dealing with the day-to-day. So I think my impressions from this is that the people of this region are very, very galvanized, they're very inspired, and I think they're very motivated to fight back against Russia disinformation and Russian presence in the region.
What I call the dark side of digital diplomacy, which refers to this weaponization, more like sharp power type of thing of the use of digital technologies and social media.
We don't take it for granted. We've seen this situation, UK with the situation of Brexit, the US elections. Even developed democracies can be vulnerable to disinformation, and that affects your life. So protecting the way in which you live and the way of the society is important. Disinformation matters. It matters because it can undermine a lot of things that we take for granted.
About current conflicts and speculation about future threats.
Liberty and freedom really matters, and a lot of that is under threat. And it's important for right-minded people to be able to get together and identify ways in which you can, pull back from this counter narrative that is developing, which is essentially shutting down free speech, controlling the narrative, using digital platforms to, polarize people, to divide people.
And that communication requires commitment, planning, understanding.
It is fortifying that I see how committed people are to a democracy, to freedom, to helping others achieve what some of us may have day to day but take for granted. we need to action that and to figure out the ways that work in whatever the context is that the struggle is happening to help our friends. Because if we don't have individual freedom, if we don't have societal freedom, we have nothing.
Just being in the presence of so many accomplished people is great. It makes you just reevaluate your life. It makes you more inspired and just willing to put in the effort and try something new. To take time and think before you make any decision. Don't base yourself on the first thing that you hear, and just take your time to think critically about anything that you hear from your peers, from your seniors, from social media, from news outlets. Just be aware and take accountability for your thoughts, for your behaviors, for your actions.
We're stronger when we work together. We're stronger when we identify our biases and our weaknesses, and we all have a certain worldview that we need to keep in mind when we make decisions as leaders, when we think about strategy for our companies, when we think about strategies for our countries. So for me, it's all about building the leadership skills, evaluating how I'm making decisions at my company, and connecting people. That's what it's about. The idea is to take the information we learn here and pass it on to our colleagues and essentially connect these change makers and young leaders, and I think that's a really inspiring mission.
So I actually came here to get more ideas for the Women in Cyber chapter that I'm trying to start in Romania. And I was hoping that I would, learn more about leadership and apply those lessons to the Romanian chapter for Women in Cyber. But instead I got so much more. I found people that I can work with starting tomorrow on this. And I also found new ideas and new ways to develop the very thing that I wanted to just, start growing. It's exploded.
The dialogue has been really cross-cutting in terms of perspectives. So really excited to continue the day and continue to learn. And the jazz has been a really special kind of component of that as well. That's a really thoughtful touch to bring in different aspects of the conversation and culture and history. And it's a really nice way to draw people together.
Galley jazz. You may be wondering what galley jazz is.
Oh, my God.